Thank you for listening to Depictions Media Radio. Welcome back, everybody. I remember, I guess maybe 30 years ago or so, joking with my friends. We always used to say, let's live life to our fullest, because you know what? Someday it's not going to be there. And we used to focus on just doing things just because we actually could. We had somebody said, hey, what are you celebrating? And we said, it's Wednesday. We got some strange looks that particular day, but the point of it is that we were just glad to have a day with each other as friends, to just be able to hang out and do the things that we loved. So I want you to meet our next guest, Martin, and he is known as the architect of Warriors L.I.F.E code. Life is an acronym in this particular case. And he's going to reveal what that acronym actually means when we bring him on. He specializes in helping people frustrated in their life quickly shift their mindset to uncover their greatness, so they can live their true potential and enjoy life. An example of what he's achieved is a client like Roberta, who lost her six-figure job due to COVID and came to Martin depressed and felt really lost. Within a short time, she had a quote, direction, focus, and a renewed energy around all the possibilities. She says that I could pursue and getting back on track to enjoy life. The key to success is he has mastered the ability to live incredibly full every day, which he has turned into his own acronym, which is now revealed, and created the Warriors L.I.F.E Code coaching program. By the time you actually hear this, we recorded it before Martin's book was released. He is going to have his book coming out by time this actually airs, and it is going to be titled Warrior to Warrior, and he's going to give away some of the secrets of his life code in that book. So you'll be able to get that after June 15th, 2023, and you'll find it on Amazon as he has published it. So let's bring Martin to the show and hear how life and the L.I.F.E code actually works. Hey, welcome back to the show, everybody. I want to bring on Martin now, and he is going to talk about his warrior. I'm saying it all wrong again. Warrior to L.I.F.E program. L.I.F.E is actually looks like an acronym where it is L.I.F.E. So we got to find out what the acronym is about, I'm sure. And congratulations that by the time we actually get this aired, your book
probably will have launched.
Yes,
So
thank you
that
so
would
much.
be really cool.
Thank you so much. I'm very excited about it. And yes, it's called the Warriors Life Code, and life stands for live incredibly full every day.
Wow, that doesn't get any better than that, right?
Right. Thank you. I get right to it. And with
Yeah.
that, I'm not just talking about happiness, I'm also talking about meaningful. Have a happy, meaningful life.
Well, okay. One of the things that earlier in my life I had a problem with psychology, and it was how psychology was being explained to me, where it seemed like they wanted everything to be on this even keel, and there were no ups and downs to life. And my basic belief is that there's supposed to be the ups and downs. How do you enjoy the really cool up, like you're on top of a mountain, if you never climbed the mountain to begin
Exactly right. I don't agree with them. I'm on your side. I believe that there are always peaks and valleys. It's what happens on those valleys and how you respond to them as opposed to react to them that decides what happens next.
right?
Yeah.
So, well, following your code, how would we respond or deal with the valleys so that we get
Yeah.
back up to the peaks?
So yeah, so my premise of live incredibly full every day is starting your day off in the right mindset, being grateful, maybe even praying if that's something that's within you, and then setting yourself up with the right day. For me, my mantra is I live incredibly full every day. So I'm looking for the opportunities instead of looking for the problems and the obstacles. And when they do come up, which they will, it's how am I going to respond to them? Because the old me, the guy I used to be, would react to pretty much everything to the point that often I would overreact. And I'd even call myself a nuclear reactor, where I would leave, fallout all over the place.
Right, right. Now, we'll talk a little bit. I'm going to poke fun at the city you live in, because it's a whole city full of people. Is like, oh my God, did you see what happened? And they just complain all the time. No.
Forget about it.
So, you do live in one of the most incredible cities in the world. In the fact that so many people actually do actually come together, and there is the spirit of that city where, um, hey, don't mess with us. We're New York, and we stand together.
That's right. That's right. People have on the outside have this view of New York as being tough, unfriendly, uncaring, and I have to say I don't believe in any of that. It has got the toughness, but it's definitely a very caring, empathetic, wanting to help others kind of place.
Yeah. Um, and so it's no wonder that a architect like yourself would come up with a life code, to live by, that would be fulfilling.
Yeah.
So how did you actually come to this? Because it's not something that
No.
you don't
No.
always just wake up and like, oh, well, I'm going to be on grateful for every day of the rest of my life.
Right. It doesn't happen that easily. It takes some work, and it takes some deep valleys, in my case, for me to have gotten there. And, I won't go too far back. I'll only go about 15 years ago, 2008. A lot of stuff was going on then. And for me, my wife and I were working on a project for 5 years by then to build a multi-million-dollar health club and tennis center in New Jersey by the shore, by the Jersey Shore. And it took us that long because we came up with the idea, then we had to find the land, find feasibility study, engineering, to architects, going to the town, having them go get civil engineers to make sure that everything's good, and parking and driving and all that. And it took us 5 years. If we had done it in 3 or 4 years, in 2006 or 2007, and we walked into the bank, we go, okay, we're ready.
Their mindset then was, okay, how much money do you need? We'll give you all you need. They were lending money like it was, nothing. But happened to me in my case, it was the summer of 2008. I go to the bank and they're like, yeah, we're not lending right now. Things are kind of slowing down there. I'm like, what are you talking about? I have over $3 million invested between myself and everybody else. Well, that's just the way it is. That's the turn of the dice as it is. I didn't realize how much they really, that they were prophetic, because in September 2008, Bernie Madoff, the subprime loans, and everything else that happened in the financial world just crumbled like a house of cards. And I was stuck at the bottom of the house of cards, and I lost absolutely everything. It was a pretty bad day, and it took me about a year to get out of that emotionally, mentally depression that I was in. And through that, I went through some therapy and I went through some coaching. I said, okay, I got to reinvent myself now. I got to figure out, rebuild, do something different. And I decided I don't want to be a businessman anymore. I've been doing that for the first 50 years of my life. I wanted to try something else, 45 to 50 years at that point. So I looked around and I thought about the things that I like doing. And one of the things I like doing was getting involved in community events. And I was always a leader. As a leader, people come to you and they go, you're doing everything. What do you need me for? Oh, no, we need you. Come in, even give us a little time. And in that time, I would show them their worth. I would show them that even a little bit of work was great. And I, uncovered their own potential. I realized I was a life coach without getting paid for it. So I said, you know what? Maybe that's something I want to do. So I looked into it. I had some coaches in my life. I said, yeah, this sounds like a good idea. And about 2 months before it was time for me to go on and go to coach training, it was my 24th wedding anniversary. And my wife said, I'm done with this roller coaster. I want off. I want a divorce. I'm like, wow. As much as I should know it was coming, until it's real, it doesn't mean anything. Mm-hmm. And it really hit me hard. Every emotion you could think of, I felt. I felt sad. I felt lonely. I felt angry. I felt abandoned. I put in 24 years plus the time we're going out, and I thought that we could not conquer anything. But what I realized was that I have to keep going. I kept on feeling like everything's happening to me. But I'd already signed up for this coaching, and I said, you know what? Maybe God's telling me something. And I went to that coaching, and that first weekend, they said to us, you don't have to continue to be who you think you have to be. You could be whoever you want to be. And so I thought, wow. And as I started to take it and understand what they were talking about, I started to transform myself. And it wasn't to save my marriage. It wasn't for my children. It was for me. And right. I realized that if I hadn't done that, who knows where I would have gone. And it was God's plan for me to go through this at a low point in my life, my divorce after 2008, and really come out of it the other side, kind of like a phoenix, coming out of the fire and rising up, and after I finished coaching training, I said, okay, I think I want to help other people going through a divorce recover from their the pains that they were feeling. So I became a divorce recovery coach, and I did that for a few years. And then as I was starting to change and recognize that I was growing, I said, okay, I want to expand this some more. And I was doing things like meditating that I was never very good at because I'm ADHD, but I did it anyway, and I'd sit there for 10 minutes like, when is this going to be over? But I'd listen to the guy, to the guided meditation, and I try to get through it. But one day I had a download of information that I loved where I am in my life at that moment, and that I wanted to show other people how they could enjoy their lives too. And after that 10-minute meditation, I wrote for 2 hours. And out of that came the blueprints, the foundation for the Warriors Life Code, and my coaching program and my book, as you mentioned, and my card deck that is kind of like an addition to the book. It's a great way to carry around in your pocket and pull out a card every once in a while when you need something to help you. It takes the principles and just abridges them, as it were. So I wrote that, and out of that came the word life, that I was loving what I was doing, And I love acronyms, so I came up with live incredibly full every day. And for me, it was all encompassing. It was being happy, it was having a meaningful life. And for me, that was okay. Sharing what I believe are gifts that I have with others so that they could shift their mindset from lack to abundance, from self conscious to self aware. And you know what? We all think we have that self awareness, but it's probably more of self consciousness. And you just don't recognize that you're feeling self conscious instead of self aware.
I know that a lot of people out there they aren't as in tune with themselves as they think that they really are, and some of it is that we don't ask the hard questions, right?
That's right. We want to avoid them because we want to stay in our comfort zone.
Right. And it doesn't matter that that comfort zone is actually a noose choking us.
Exactly. Exactly. In the front of my card deck, I have this quote by Roy T. Bennett. Change begins at the end of your comfort zone. Right? You've got to get comfortably uncomfortable with your life and recognize what's working and, more important, what's not working and what I need to change so that I can have that happy, even meaningful life. And you got to be willing to push yourself through it.
Yeah. So how do you get people with your coaching process? How do you get people to that edge so that they can actually see the I'm going to say the beautiful possibilities that our universe has put there? And I do like that you use God because I like using God. God created the most fantastic place possible out of our universe. And how do you get people to that edge where they can actually start to see how beautiful it is and what their potential is with that?
Right. So I'd love to say it's a snap of the finger, but it's not. It's a work. It's first them admitting that they don't love where they are in their life. And it's by them also recognizing that they're probably saying, I can't more often than they should be, or it's not possible, or, any of those negative thoughts that will hold them down. And that starts by an easy process of waking up every morning and writing down 3 things you're grateful for. Because when you start to do that on a daily basis, the things that you're complaining start to go away because you're retraining yourself to look for the good things, look for the possibilities, look for the opportunities. And then for me, I do that. I pray, and then I say I live incredibly full every day, and I want to set myself up for those opportunities.
Right. Somebody once said to me that God doesn't perform miracles anymore. And I looked at him and I said, you're not looking in the right place because God performs miracles every day. It's just you have to open your eyes and see them.
That's right. That's right. I agree with that 100%. Everything that goes on is a miracle. We take so much for granted that we don't recognize the things that are miracles. Somebody recently said to me, I prayed to God and he didn't answer me. And my answer to them was, he did. You weren't listening. He said no. And why did he say no? Because it's not what he's got in his plans for you. You're going against the grain of what God's plan is. You got to keep searching and find the one that's the right one for you, that God has there for you, hidden away in some way.
Right. It's kind of it was kind of interesting for me with some things that when I stopped griping and I stopped complaining and I started just waking up and being grateful just to be able to stand up, that the whole everything just kind of eventually started to switch around and twist, and then I started creating this wonderful network that, of course, that we have you on now. Um, it, but there's a process to that, and we need a guide.
Yeah.
So, and again, with your life code would seem to say that you are that guy.
I really believe that I am. And I've taken the word life and used them in many different ways. And one of them, as example, is one that I call the life mood lifter method to stay positive no matter what's going on around you. Okay. So the same four letters, life, L, live responsibly. Take responsibility for everything going on in your life. Don't look for anybody else to take the responsibility. Take responsibility for your own life, which then goes into the second one. Inspire yourself by stop complaining and worrying and criticizing. You've got to go from being a worrier to a warrior, which is what my whole course and everything I talk about is. It's that worry that holds you back, right? And then F, feel gratitude. Be grateful for what you do have. There are people who have much less than you. No matter where you are, there's somebody that's got less. And look at things in a positive way so you can change complaining to appreciating. And then the last one is embrace that these new beliefs are working and be aware as they show up. Don't take them as a one-off. Don't take them as coincidence. There's no such thing as coincidences. If you're putting out the positive energy, it'll come back to you. It may not come back right back to you, or it may, and you'll say, oh, that just happens. No, it's part of what's going on. And you've got to recognize it and build on it so that you can have sustainable change. It doesn't happen overnight. You've got to put the work in every day and make it work for you so that it works for everybody.
For a second, let's focus on that word worry, because there's power in words, right?
Yes.
And what does that word actually mean to worry, and what does it actually do to our body chemistry?
Yeah. So there are two different words. There's worry and concern. Mm-hmm. Now, concern is a strong word in its own right. And worry is a strong word in a different way. Worry means, oh my God, I'm Chicken Little. I'm running around. The sky is falling, and I can't do anything about it. And what you're doing is you're sending yourself a message that I'm defeated, and your body is going to take it in and start to deteriorate in ways like with stress. You can develop ulcers. You can develop other illnesses just because of the worry. Now, concern, on the other hand, is me saying, okay, something's got to change. What am I going to do to help that change happen? So with that, you're being proactive or even just active. And you're saying, I'm going to jump in and figure it out. And as you do that, as things start to happen, the endorphins will kick in and things will continue. And if they don't, you've got to say, okay, why isn't it working? And make a course correction. Don't give up. Don't say, I give up and it's not going to work. And, oh, there's no such thing as the law of attraction. No, you got to do the work for it. And you got to recognize when God is sending you the message that you're not on the right course. You might be in the right course, but maybe not perfect direction. You got to, make a course correction.
Right. So one is proactive, meaning you're active part of what's happening. The other one, you're just simply the lump.
You're the lump. You're the victim of circumstance. And that's being you making an excuse. And I actually have something that I feel very strong about it with that. And it's another one of my cards, which I'm looking for right now. And I call it something very interesting. When things aren't going your way and you want to figure out why it's not or whatever, and you want to look for something else, you usually rationalize all the reasons why it's not happening, or you rationalize why you do something that you shouldn't be doing. Okay. So I think that the word rationalize is really two words. rational lies. Okay. And I say, whenever you think you may be doing something that's going against your values, you'll rationalize all the reason why it's okay. What you're really doing is lying to yourself that it's rational to think that. It's nothing more than rational lies. And to me, when you rationalize, it's your way of saying, oh, this is the reason. But the reason is nothing more than a disguised excuse that you're not ready to admit.
Right. You could have reached out for a different method or result, and the rest is imprinted in you because because it starts to drag you down.
Right, exactly. Everything is perpetual. Positive is perpetual, negative is perpetual. It's the energy you're giving out. If you give out low, destructive, what I call catabolic energy, which is destructive, that's what you'll get back. But if you put out good energy, anabolic, constructive energy, that's what will come back to you.
So how do you teach somebody to do that?
One step at a time. You say, let's start with gratitude. Let's start with reducing how much you're complaining. Mm-hmm. Okay. It's impossible to go from 100 complaints a day to 0, but we can go from 100 to 95 to 90. And in the meantime, you're going from 0 appreciation to 5 on a scale, as it were.
Right.
And you're saying, I'm going to start to appreciate the things around me. Oh, what a beautiful day. Oh, my wife made me coffee. Wow, what a beautiful thing. Oh, I'm so happy to have children in my life that I love. And if they don't get me, it's about me changing the way that I see me and they see me. Right? And growing. When they're teenagers, you're like, I don't get it. Well, anything I say, it's as if I'm the devil. We're teenagers. Say it in a different way and stop thinking about the negativity that's coming out of you. Because it's inside of you, they're hearing it because it just happens that way. So, and will it work all the time? No, but that doesn't mean you give up. Go at it a different way.
Right. If it doesn't work one way, find there's another path that will work.
Exactly.
Yeah. Awesome. You're coaching people, you're guiding them and everything. Of course, there's a direction that you're trying to get them to go in. What's that look like? So
for me, it's never about my agenda.
Mm-hmm.
It's about theirs. Okay. And the job of a coach is to ask the questions so that they can come up with the answers. Now, of course, you frame it in ways that helps them to find it. You give them tools like the book to read and the cards as a foundation. And then you go, let's build on that. And then here's the important point that I believe that everyone should have a coach. I have 2-3 coaches in my life at any given time, right? It's to be accountable to someone. It's easy to be accountable to your wife or to your spouse or to your children or to your boss or to whoever, because you have to be, right?
Right.
But when it comes to being accountable to yourself, it's easy to rationalize that things are going on. So I don't have the time to do what I'd like to do. So you're giving yourself the rational lie that you need to get out of it. By having a coach in place, now you're accountable to yourself through your coach.
And there it is.
That's right.
Accountability is something that is very important for progress, right?
That's right. It's right. Because if you don't have the accountability, how do you know that you're progressing? How do you know that you're moving forward? You could guess it, you could hope it, but by looking at yourself and saying, okay, these are the goals I'm going to set up for myself. I want to lose 100 pounds. Is that going to happen overnight? Of course not. But if I start working out and if I start eating better, when I hit 3 pounds, I'm going to celebrate because I'm 3 pounds better than I was before. And when I hit 10 pounds, I'm going to celebrate some more. Each one of them. And then I'm going to go back to my accountability partner, my coach, and say, okay, what's working? What's not working? How do we go forward? Do we have to change anything, make course corrections, whatever it is, so that I can continue on my journey?
How important is it to actually celebrate even the smallest of victories?
So important. We're so used to the negative thoughts, what I call the ants, A-N-T, the automatic negative thoughts that come into our minds. That, oh, I can't do that. Oh, who are you kidding? Is that we need to get rid of that by reinforcing the little celebrations along the way, because that's what keeps you going. Inch by inch, it's a cinch. Mile by mile, it's hard. Whatever it is, yard by yard, it's hard. Inch by inch, it's a cinch.
Yeah.
I knew I'd get that. I knew I'd get it out somehow. There it is.
There it is. It's here's a question for you. Because you're talking about distance and things like that, and especially in our society, we have a tendency to measure how we're progressing in our distance, our life distance, against someone else's.
Yeah.
Should we be doing that, or should we just pay attention to our own distance?
You know what? No matter how much you think the other person's life is greener, their grass is greener, there's stuff going on that you don't know about. That's number one. Mm-hmm. Number two, you may need to lose 100 pounds, right? He may not need to lose any weight because of whatever else he's doing. So comparing yourself to him, you're setting yourself up for failure. Compare yourself to yourself, to where you were, to where you are, and to where you want to be. And that's a continual journey. Even when you hit your goal, I tell my clients, we're going to set up a goal. Okay. And we're 75% on the way there. We are going to reevaluate the goals and set up new goals. Because what's going to happen when you hit 100? Okay, I'm done. Thank you very much. What do you do? Check out? It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, checking out isn't left to us, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly right. I mean, some people think it is, and they leave unbelievable grief in behind when they do check out.
Yeah.
And it's sad that some people have to do that, but they don't. Maybe they don't understand the wake of grief that they leave if they check out. God forbid, do something crazy, right? You have to, that's the meta version of it. You got to look at how it's going to affect everybody around you. And if you're that deep into it, go get the therapy you need to get you out of it. That's not coaching, that's therapy.
Yeah. Yeah. There is a very clear line between the two.
Yes. And there are times I've gone to my clients and say, you know what? You're not ready for me. You need therapy. And it's only in your best interest to get the therapy, because spending time with me, you're just spending money.
Right. Yeah. There are times when this was explained to me by another friend of mine who was a pastor, and he was a great counselor. Don't get me wrong, he was a great counselor, and he said to me, he said one day, he said, Michael, is like, I can keep counseling you, but you're in a mire. It's like, you need to go see the therapist. It's like, come back to me for the counseling after you've gone to the therapist, and he does some work with him.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, yeah. Because he's the one that's got to get you out of the mire so that I can keep counseling.
Right. I learned something when I went to coach training, and I think about it all the time. Therapy takes you from dysfunctional to functional. Mm-hmm. Coaching takes you from functional to optimal. You can't go from dysfunctional to optimal without going to functional. It's not possible. And you need to make those small incremental changes and be accountable to yourself, accountable to somebody else, so that you can move on and say, I'm functioning. I'm not dysfunctional. And then you could say, okay, how can I go from from striving to thriving.
Right. Right. And there's some very cool distinctions when we begin to thrive.
That's right. That's right.
How did you know you were beginning to thrive yourself?
That's a good question. I think when those times when I was at a point where I was not looking back and saying what's holding me back, other than looking back and reflecting as to what held me back and how that's not holding me back anymore. And when the things that I thought I needed in my life, like the recognition, like the people pleasing that I was, and getting rid of that anger that I always had, that would end up being me reacting to the person I am now, was me looking and saying, I'm thriving now. And I like myself and I love myself and I'm ready to be loved by someone else. And I was very fortunate to have people around me who said, you know what? Let's find you someone. And I was set up with this woman and I would go out on dates and I would look to see if they had the values that I never understood before I went through coaching, and realized now that I was in a codependent relationship in my first marriage and that I needed to find someone who had the similar values to me. And I would date and see that. And one day I was set up with a woman who had the same values, and I'd go out on dates and she'd be checking the boxes. And about a month into it, I said, I got to tell you something. And you don't need to say it to me. I'm falling in love with you because I love who you are. And I love that you see me as I am and you're not trying to change me. And I'm very happy to say that we're married for almost 5 years now.
May that continue.
Thank you. Thank you for many, many years to come. I just hit my 60th birthday a few months ago. I told my kids, I've told everybody, I'm at the 50% mark of my life. I've got another 60 to go.
There you go.
That's it.
May it be a healthy and fulfilling 60.
That's right.
Actually, I must say that part of that wish is a wish for myself also, because I'm not too far behind you.
There you go. There you go. Great. I wish the same for you.
So, if you could wish up the most perfect world, what would it look like for Martin?
The most perfect world?
Yeah.
I would say it's a world full of optimism, happiness, meaningfulness, and everybody looking to help everyone. And understand that freedom is beautiful, but there are some things that need to come with it, and that, freedom is not free, but that means that you understand that other people are all contributing to the greatness of the world.
I think that's one of the best answers I've gotten to that one.
Oh, wow.
Well, I should say now one. Let me qualify that, because it's because you're painting a picture that I also can believe in, with freedom, that we have to work for it.
Yeah, exactly. It's not handed to you.
Yeah.
We happen to live in a society in America and Canada where freedom is we take it for granted. We think it's our right. It's a privilege, and we have to recognize that as it is.
Yeah, that's right. So, anyway, the name of the book again?
The name of the book is Warrior to Warrior: 7 Steps to Uncover the Warrior Within and Live Incredibly Full Every Day.
Yeah, and the best way is to get a hold of you, Martin, to work with you.
Connect with Martin.com. How's that for simplicity?
Martin.com. That's perfect.
Connect with Martin.com. Connect with Martin.com. This way they can go there. They can get some free gifts. They can buy my book. They can buy my cards. They can make an appointment for a free session to talk with me and see where we can go.
Awesome. You know what? Martin.com, the fact that you got that was
Well, it's not just Martin, it's connectwithmartin.com. It's that one thing. It's not just, I wish I could have gotten Martin.com. It's connectwithmartin.com.
Even so, that was definitely God speaking that you could get that.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you for listening, everyone. And please go to connectwithmartin.com and connect with Martin and find out how he can put more into your life and change you from a warrior to a warrior.
Did a great job. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And everybody, do find that subscribe button wherever it is and click on it so you can get continued updates and more Influencer Club into your home.
This show has been produced by Depictions Media. Please contact us at depictions.media for more information.